Good morning and welcome to the 2025 State Fair Virginia Youth Market Hog Show. Starting our day off with a single entry of the feeder hog class, Mason Dunlap out of Gloucester. I'd like to introduce our judge for this morning, Mr. Jim McCoy. He reigns from Bloomingburg, Ohio. Jim is a retired from Real McCoy Genetics, a show pig and boar stud operation. Currently, he is operating an independent show pig consulting business, assisting with multiple boar studs, breeders, and show pig producers. Jim assists them with marketing and sales and helping families with their new purchases, making the show pig life a more fulfilling experience. Jim is married to his wife Amanda and has 4 children and 12 grandchildren. He has been judging swine shows at all levels over the past 45 years in 33 states. Let's give a warm Virginia welcome to our judge, Mr. Jim McCoy.
Well, good morning. It's a privilege to be back in Virginia again. I thoroughly enjoyed it last year. Good set of hogs, great kids, and we'll have us a good time here the next couple of days. Just the one entry here that we've got in the underweight class. Missed the weight there by about 10 pounds. A hog that actually is proportioned really good as far as when you watch him profile. Length of front and cleanliness of front end is good. Soundness of front end as far as flex and angle is excellent. It's the right length of body. Some of these hogs, they'll have it either get too short-bodied or too long-bodied, but everything balances and fits really well. To make him better, we'd like to bust him open a little more in the center of his rib cage, square him up a little bit in his hock, and give him a little more true dimension of muscle. But still a nice project that he's done a nice job with. Let's give him a nice round of applause there, and we'll get started on the rest of the show.
Coming in the ring next is going to be Class 1 lightweight crossbred market barrows. Hunter Ross out of Virginia Beach, Addison Green, Frederick, Virginia Widener, Pennsylvania, Charles Farmer, Pennsylvania, Logan Cassiano, Loudon, and Luke Wetzel, Shenandoah. Class 2 lightweight crossbred market barrows, this is your first call. First call, Class 2 lightweight crossbred market barrows. Today's show would not be possible without our sponsors. The State Fair of Virginia supports our youth livestock shows by providing this venue, covering our judge expenses, and paying out over $35,000 in cash premiums and $28,500 in earned scholarships for our exhibitors. First Bank and Trust has provided an exhibitor T-shirt for each of our exhibitors this week. This year's T-shirt has been created in memory of our friend, colleague, and longtime State Fair Virginia supporter, Casey Daniel. Casey was the inspiration behind and operated our info tent for 6 years, providing exhibitors and parents with guidance, information, and answers to all of their questions. Casey served as the 4-H Positive Youth Development Agent in Orange County for 23 years, impacting more youth than can be counted, and not only spreading the mission of 4-H, but truly living it each and every day. We lost Casey on August 7th to a short but hard-fought battle with cancer. Casey was responsible for the creation of our exhibitor T-shirts for many years and had already begun working on this year's shirt, giving it the same time and attention as always. She wouldn't want tears, so please join me in a round of applause for our amazing colleague whom we miss so much, Casey Daniel. We'd also like to thank the Farm Credit of Virginia's for providing water for the exhibitors/staff for the week. General sponsors this week supporting all of our shows are the Craig County Farm Bureau and the Washington County Farm Bureau. Some additional sponsors include the Virginia Pork Council and Land of Promise Farms. Class number 2, lightweight crossbred market bearers. Class number 2, lightweight crossbred market bearers. This is your second and final call. Second and final call. Class 2, lightweight crossbred market bearers.
Good first class here, and again we'll get into a rhythm where we kind of get our pinning thing going. It'll go a little smoother for sure. And these are the top two we weighed there, and our belted bear that wins the class to me just has a little more to him as far as bulk and mass and true dimension. He's a good hog from the side as far as watching him profile. Length of front and stoutness of skull is very good. He's wide chested, still intact in his elbow and square at his knee. He's a heavy structured hog where everything down below the body line matches everything we're seeing up high. He's got really good turn to his rib and good turn to his center body with the correct proportions as you watch him profile. He's on the edges behind as far as where you set his hock, but I think still very secure and very solid there. The Calico bear is a really neat bear. I like the running gear of this hog quite a little bit. He's tall fronted. Takes a really good length of stride with good set to his shoulder and knee and front foot. He's very good, again, equally to our class winner as far as his proportions from the side. He bulks up with good kind of muscle shape down his top with good kind of turn of muscle shape behind. He doesn't have quite the heaviness of structure, doesn't have quite the extra mass in turn through the center portion of his body as our class winner, but a very nice bear. The bear coming next, and this is where it gets really difficult. You can kind of do some trade-off things here where you go from third on down. This hog here, as far as from the side, is really good as far as his look and his elevation, his eye appeal. Very good running gear in this hog. He just doesn't base wide enough. It needs to open up better coming directly at you. He needs to leave us with a little more stifle and a little more lower ham end volume, just a little more muscle down in the seam of his ham, but still a very nice kind of a bear, like the running gear and the maturity of that one. This one right here, if we could get him out of first gear, this one here would probably slid in third in this particular class. He just never grabs a gear and gets out there and gets after it. He's very, very tentative and very, very cautious how he places every foot, every step to his foot. He's heavy structured. He's big footed. He's really good as far as his stoutness of skull and shape. He just simply got to get out there and get after it. This one here is a really neat, very well presented kind of a blue bear here. I really like that, the stoutness of build that this hog's got. He's bulky through the center portion of his body, bold and robust in his rib, a lot of turn to his body shape. He's got muscle shape behind. He wants to mature a little bit quicker and get a little bit smaller in his kind, a little too moderate for a lightweight type of class for me to project him out into a heavier weight status. This hog right here just needs time. He just needs groceries and just needs to bulk up and get there. He's just not there yet. I still think that bear is on his way up. A good-looking one from the front. Front end, very good as far as his proportions from profile. Tall fronted, heavy structured. He wants to kind of roll and knuckle forward there at his elbow. He gets a little bit narrower in his chest, a little narrower in his base, but a neat kind of a bear, if fed right, could go on into a heavyweight status and be very neat. Let's give him a nice round of applause there for your first class.
Winning class number 1, Charles Farmer, Pennsylvania. Second, Virginia Widener, Pennsylvania. Third, Luke Wetzel, Shenandoah. Fourth, Logan Cassiano, Loudon. Fifth, Hunter Ross, Virginia Beach. And sixth, Addison Green, Frederick. Entering the ring now is class number 2, lightweight crossbred market bearers. Landon Marshall, Augusta. Jackson Kelly, Clark. Isaac Cyphers, Washington. And Charles Farmer, Pennsylvania. Following this class, we will have the champion lightweight crossbred market bearer drive. On standby, we need Charles Farmer and Virginia Widener out of class number 1.
Well, just the 4 entries in this class. We're going to go ahead and just leave these guys out here. And really, there's not just that one definitive one that has to win in this particular class, maybe like we had in the first group, but still a nice set of barrows and a very nice one to win with. The young man over here is going to be your class winner. Bear that, again, I think profiles extremely well. He's really good as far as his design, extra good as far as head carriage and having some skull shape and a stout kind of a jawline. He's tall as his shoulders is, his hip. He levels out in his spine extremely well. He's maybe a half rib longer body, and that's not a bad word. I mean, we talk about short-backed and hairy and all this other crap. But hogs got to still have 3 dimensions and be big enough in their kind to go ahead and to project onto a heavier weight. This hog can get to a heavyweight status, and I think be the right kind. Great running gear. He's better in his knee than our second place bear we got right here. This one here is a really neat, well presented kind of a bear, a very good fronted kind of a hog. Again, tall-fronted, level design. Again, he's probably got a half rib length of the body. He's not too short-bodied for his own good. Very good from that aspect. He's shapely down his top and good in his muscle pattern behind. He's got to get a little bit better at his knee and to the ground coming directly at us. He gets just a little flatter in his shoulder and rib cage than what we had in our class winner. The belted bear is going to be third in the drive. And this one here I prefer as far as his proportions and his bulk of any in the class. He's just simply too forward in his shoulder, too upright in his build up front. He's a little shorter stepping behind. If we could give that hog more angle and more running gear, easily be your class winner. Really good looking bear. He's just better on the still than he is on the go. The blue hog we finished up with still a very nice kind of a bear that, again, I think running gear wise is better than the one we had just above it as far as length of stride. He's not quite as heavy structured. He gets a little longer in his front pastern. He just wants to maybe get search a little more as far as where he wants to plant that step as he goes up front. Let's give him a nice round of applause as a good deep class.
Winning class number 2, Jackson Kelly of Clark. Second, Charles Farmer of Pennsylvania. Third, Landon Marshall of Augusta. And fourth, Isaac Cyphers of Washington. We will now drive for your champion lightweight crossbred market bearer. Coming out of class number 2, Jackson Kelly of Clark. Coming out of class number 1, Charles Farmer of Pennsylvania. Second out of class number 1, Virginia Widener of Pennsylvania. And your second out of class number 2, Charles Farmer of Pennsylvania. Class number 1, middleweight market bearers. Class number 1, middleweight market bearers, this is your first call. Class 1, middleweight market bearers, first call.
Well, again, here for your lightweight division championship, I think 4 nice individuals. They represent the state and the state fair very, very well here as far as the quality. Extremely good built kind of hogs that, again, that can kind of get out there and get after it as far as their, again, structure and balance and design. And they got eye appeal. They got ring appeal to them as far as being able to draw your eye. Our 2 class winners, as you kind of study those out, we talked about that first class winner being proportioned extremely good, and he's a little maybe more ideal as far as proportions for the time, as far as being a little boxier built. He's not quite as true in his hock and going directly away, but he's really bulky and stout. That second class winner here, again, we mentioned, that hog is really good built in his design, extremely good running gear in that one. I like his angles, his set, and his reach. He's more secure behind. He's maybe not as bulky and fluffy as that other class winner we had. Still like him the best. That's going to be your division champion, your reserves right here.
Your champion lightweight crossbred market bearer comes out of class number 2, Jackson Kelly. Reserve champion lightweight crossbred market bearer is going to be Charles Farmer out of Pennsylvania. Class 1 middleweight crossbred market bearers, this is your last and final call. Class 1 middleweight crossbred market bearers. We are now driving Class 1 middleweight crossbred market barrows. Entering the ring now, Landon Marshall of Augusta, Coleman Seal of Augusta, Landon Marshall, Augusta, Logan Cassiano, Loudon, Ella Miller of Wythe, Lauren Wright of Page, and Helen Farmer of Pittsylvania. Class 2 middleweight crossbred market barrows, this is your first call. Class 2 middleweight crossbred market barrows, first call. Class 2 middleweight crossbred market barrows. Class 2 middleweight crossbred market barrows. This is your second and final call. Class 2 middleweight crossbred market barrows.
a really challenging class, and structure is a real issue in this particular class. And truthfully, it is in every class, but usually there's hopefully one that has the fewest problems, that everything kind of fits right for that class winner. We got some issues here on these, but again, I'm not putting them down. I'm just trying to tell you what I'm seeing here. But I really like this blue-eyed barrow here, that blue rump barrow that came out when he first hit the ring. And when you view him from the side, his angles out of his shoulder, knee, and front foot, his set to his hock, and his flexibility is really good. But then you turn and get in behind him, he's as wide as you'd ever want one in his hock, and he doesn't really get bow-legged and it's kind of pop him and do all that, but he doesn't set him quite as secure and square as what I would call ideal. But other than that particular thing, versus our second place pig, he's really good out in his front end. I do love his angles of his shoulder, knee, and front foot, and the way he sets. He opens up in his chest floor extremely good. He's a natural-looking hog down his top with really good kind of muscle shape. Do need to fix him behind, but again, relative to what we had in his class, he was the one. This bear here is better behind as far as squareness of hock and hitting the ground a little truer, but he is a little shorter stepping. He's not quite as set back in his shoulder, knee, and front foot. He's very well prepared as far as a head carriage and jaw line and way everything. He doesn't tie at the top of his blade quite as good. And again, as I said, he doesn't have quite that extra set up front, but I do appreciate his squareness behind. Neat kind of a hog here that, again, is squarer behind than our first place bear, but he's a softer one on his front pasterns. He's a little quicker in his maturity, and he kind of wants to duck and tuck there behind just a little bit and kind of get up under himself a little bit more. He never picks it up and releases quite as good as maybe what I would deem ideal. He's a little chunkier up in his crest. Then kind of shift gears a little bit on this 4 on down. This hog here is just proportioned better with a little more stoutness and bulk of center and rib. He's a truer square hog going directly away than the ones we got on down the line, and he's a fresher, well-presented kind of a pig. The pig we got coming out here, this painted up colored pig here, is one that, again, was probably better 30, 45 days ago. He's showing his age just a little bit. He's a little up in his crest and chine just a little bit more. I love his profile, his design, his running gear. He just gets a little plainer in his overall look. Opposite end of the spectrum here, this one here is really bulky and really chunky. He's really got a barrel-shaped kind of a rib and a big kind of a body. He's got more true muscle shape than the one we finish up with. He gets pudgier up in his crest and chine. He's a little quicker in his maturity, a little rounder in his look. The pig we finish up with, again, I was probably good 60 days ago there, wanting to get out of range just a little bit on frame size. He's really good as far as his look and profile, design, and proportions. He's just a little plainer in his overall look and his overall muscle shape as he goes directly away. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Another good class.
Winning class number 1, middleweight, crossbred market bears, Coleman Seal of Augusta. 2nd, Landon Marshall, Augusta. 3rd, Logan Cassiano, Loudon. 4th, Landon Marshall, Augusta. 5th, Ella Miller of Wythe. 6th, Lauren Wright of Page. And 7th, Helen Farmer of Pennsylvania. We will now drive for class number 2, middleweight, crossbred market bears. Entering the ring now is Robert Ford of Warren, Luke Wetzel of Shenandoah, Peyton Johnson of Augusta, Landon Marshall, Augusta, Cole Bickling, Augusta, Galen Swisher of Augusta, and Skylar Talley of Augusta. On standby, we need the class winner in second class of class number 1, middleweight, crossbred market bears, Coleman Seal and Landon Marshall.
Give them a nice round of applause. Every time we get them picked, let's give them a nice round of applause. They worked hard to get to this point. I'm not trying to make light of it at all. You go ahead and you applaud anytime you see something you like happen to those kids. That's what they're here for, is to have some acknowledgement of their work. And you hear it, it's a little bit cliche. Sometimes a judge will say, boy, if we could combine these two, you'd have the ideal barrel. Well, that's close to what this would be. They're a little bit contrasting types, but they are the two best livestock in this particular class. They have some contrasting pieces, but they're the best running gear, the best built ones that, again, have all the right stuff and really no major problems. And that's what it's about. You're never going to find a perfect one. You just got to try to find as many good things in one package and the fewest number of problems that you can put up with. And whatever your pet peeve is, that may be what it is that day, and try to be consistent with it. The belted barrel we got is our class one. It is the bulky, stout, dense, bold one that's really, really boxy in his build, shorter in his body, barrel length the body for the time. He's really good in his running gear for that much stoutness. He's very square in his chest. He's quite a bit better in his chest, floor, knee, and front foot than what our second place pig is. He's really good as far as having a big barrel-shaped kind of rib, a lot of natural body shape, and a shorter kind of a body to match everything from end to end. He's got an extra good kind of a running gear behind. He stays very square and intact behind. Where would we change him? Clean him up in his crest just a nickel, make him a little cleaner in his throat, make him a little longer in his front end. But that hog is a very, very nice kind of a hog to lead this drive. The white sock pig we got in second is one that's better out of his front end as far as length of front, cleanliness of front end, high head carriage, good jaw line, really good at the top of his blade, and he blends extremely good from that aspect. If we can make him better coming right directly at us and make him a little more robust right there in his center rib, that is a really neat kind of a pig. I like that pair of barrows a lot. We just got to see him better coming right at this particular angle. The next one coming out is just it kind of logically he kind of ties the top end and the bottom end of the class together. He's a very good kind of a barrow. He's a little bit peaked in his feature. He doesn't have quite that extra stoutness there. As far as rim of snout and jawline, he's very good as far as his profile, his design, his squareness. He's good in his soundness. He's just a little plainer looking out of his front end, but man, that hog's got a good running gear. He's got muscle shape. He's got center body. This one right here is another one. Needs to be a little better coming right at us. It needs to be a little better to the top of his blade and his crest. That's a good barrow as far as heavy stoutness of skull. Heaviness of bone is very, very good. He's better in his maturity and his joints than what we are on down the line. We just got to fix that one coming directly at us. This one right here is just a little quicker in his maturity. I mean, we hear everybody talk about short-bodied and heavy boned, and he is that, but he's mature and he's kind. He's rounder in his bone work. He wants to roll out in his elbow. He gets a little quicker in his maturity, pudgier up in his crest, but man, he's bold in his muscle. He's bold in his rib cage. He's good in his muscle shape. He's a little too quick in his maturity, a little smaller in his kind. The blue hog we got coming out next, if we can make this hog coming better right at us, we might like that one better than the one we had just above him, because he is a neat-looking one up front. Elevation is good. He's a clean, raw top kind of a hog with good kind of muscle shape behind. He's got to be a little better in his chest, a little better in his bone work. The hog we finish up with, just simply a little too short striding, a little straighter off both ends. It takes a little shorter, choppier kind of a stride. From the body line up, we like his stoutness and muscle shape that he's got down his top and through his hip. We just got to reconstruct the way that one's put together in his running gear down low. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Another good class.
Winning class number 2 of the middleweight crossbred market barrows, Landon Marshall of Augusta. Second, Luke Wetzel, Shenandoah. Third, Gaislyn Swisher of Augusta. Fourth, Skylar Talley of Augusta. Fifth, Robert Ford, Warren. Sixth, Cole Bickling, Augusta. And seventh, Peyton Johnson of Augusta. We will now drive for your champion middleweight crossbred market barrow. Coming out of class number 1, Coleman Seal of Augusta. Winning the second class, Landon Marshall of Augusta. Second out of class number 1, Landon Marshall of Augusta. And second out of class number 2, Luke Wetzel of Shenandoah. We are now driving for your champion middleweight crossbred market barrow. Class number 1, heavyweight crossbred market barrows. Class number 1, heavyweight crossbred market barrows. This is your first call. Class number 1, heavyweight crossbred market bearers, first call.
Well, let's give your division champions a nice round of applause here for their first and seconds. Worked hard to get there. Again, four real nice individuals. Again, and each of them are just a shade different. I mean, anytime as a judge, when you got them, it's relative to what's available per class. You like for them all to come back and have a pattern and a basic look, and they have a little different look just because of what we had in those classes, but they were the best livestock. Our two class winners are the ones that, again, really good as far as profile and design, very good as far as running gear from that aspect, structurally. The blue one we had in the first class is one we mentioned, wanted to roll on the outside of his hoof wall and get a little wider behind. The other class winner is very good from that aspect. He needs to be a little more better up front as far as kind of like the blue one there. The white sock pig we mentioned is really good behind with really good squareness and reach. Not good enough coming directly at us. And the other white one over here, the predominantly white one here, is one that just gets a little straighter and more upright on both ends. That needs to have a little more flex and reach, and so they're not without their problems, but they got a lot of good to them. Trying to tie most of the best together. I think for champion and reserve here are the two that again fit me very, very well. Young man right here is going to have your champion. Young man right here is going to be reserve.
Your champion, middleweight crossbred market bearer, comes out of class number 2, Landon Marshall. Reserve champion, middleweight, comes out of class number 1, Coleman Seal. Class 1, heavyweight crossbred market bearers, this is your second and final call. We will now drive class number 1 heavyweight crossbred market bearers. Entering the ring now is Jackson Kelly of Clark, Lucas Myers of Rockingham, Ella Jane Michael of Augusta, Selena Perez of Virginia Beach, and Bradley Cron of Augusta. Class 2 heavyweight crossbred market bearers. Class 2 heavyweight crossbred market bearers. This is your first call. Class 2 heavyweight market bearers.
This round of applause, please. We'll get in the class of heavies here, and I think it's one clear-cut class winner, and he's not without fault, but he's a nice hog, and I think he wins it very handily just on the bone, bulk, mass, profile, design. Everything kind of fits really well. He looks like he's been around a minute, but truthfully, that's kind of the nature of the beast anymore. They're all going to be manipulated on time and growth and all that. His head shows a little more maturity, but I'm not going to try to, play the expert and say, well, this one's 5 months old and this one's a year old. Just good hogs are good hogs, and how they're presented is how we're going to judge him. I would like to see him a little more youthful in his skull and up in his crest and chine and up there in his skull cap, but that is the best pig. That is a stout-skulled hog with a really good running gear. He's very, very good as far as his profile, his design, his length of body is perfect. He squares up so much better behind. He's laid back in his shoulder better than a couple of them on down the line. He's got more bulk and more muscle than the one we got in second. Again, he just ties a bunch of good things together. Might want to stiffen his front pastern just a nickel. That's a very, very good barrow. What we got here next is one that just logically had to fall in line because of structure. Again, this one's laid back shoulder to knee and front foot better. He takes a good long kind of a stride behind. He maybe needs to be just a little bit better as far as where he sets his hock. He doesn't have as much bulk and stoutness in his rib and chest. He doesn't have as much turn to his muscle pattern behind. But compared to our third place Barrett, again, so much more correct in his skeleton. What we got in third is heavy structured. As a more youthful looking kind of a head as far as type and kind. I like his profile and design pretty well. Structurally, we got to lay that one back in his shoulder. He's really, really forward on this left shoulder. He really wants to get upright and out in front of himself there up front. Dew claws are bothering him up front. Don't know if he's had them taken off or nubbed off, but it's bugging him, whatever it is. He's searching out those front steps just a little bit more than I would like to see. And as he goes away, he's wider up high than he is down low in his skeleton. One we got in next is a very similar kind of a hog as the one we had just above it, just a little plainer in his muscle and about half of the bone dimension. He's good as far as skull shape. He runs uphill. Very good as far as his profile, design, levelness. Reach is very good. He's set back in his shoulder better than the one we used above him. Just need to stouten that one up in his bone work. The calico pig we end up with, neat looking one up front, real cocky looking out of his head carriage, excellent from that aspect, but he wants to cave a little bit and funnel to the ground a little bit as he comes directly at us. He gets a little rounder and shorter out of his hip. We need to get that one just leveled out in his design, stouten him at the ground, make him as wide down low as he is up high. Let's give him a nice round of applause once again.
Winning class number 1 of the heavyweights, Bradley Cron of Augusta. Second, Ella Jane Michael of Augusta. Third, Jackson Kelly of Clark. Fourth, Lucas Myers of Rockingham. And fifth, Selena Perez of Virginia Beach. We will now drive class number 2 of the heavyweight crossbred market barrows. Entering the ring now is Jake Henderson of Clark, Lauren Wright, Page, Grant Bowman of Shenandoah, Sawyer Zolman of Rockbridge, Bradley Cron of Augusta, Whitley Kopp of Washington, and Coleman Seal of Augusta. At the conclusion of this class, we will drive for your champion heavyweight crossbred market barrow. On standby, we need Bradley Cron and Ella Jane Michael. Attention, attention. Following the conclusion of the Market Barrow Show, we will roll right into our crossbred market gilts. At the conclusion of the crossbred market barrows, we will go right into the crossbred market gilts.
Well, this heavyweight class here is a really difficult one to put together. Again, there's just not that one definitive one, but easily the right one to put on the top. This black bear here with the white nose is one that's considerably bulkier in his bone work, stouter in his skull. He's good as far as freshness at top. He rolls out of muscle out of the top of his blade considerably better than what our second place pig does. He's very good as far as being robust in his top and having turn to his body. He's got enough muscle shape as far as bulk and stoutness going away. He's a little more mature up in his skull, probably looks a little more like a boar prospect than a barra, but I'd like to extend his neck and maybe clean that head up just a little bit in his crest. But again, compared to what we got to use in this particular class, the freshness at top, the bulk, the bone work, and still a good running gear as far as length of stride and flex, I think easily is the one that we run with. Awesome running gear in this one. If we could have shown this one about 60 days ago, that one would have been the one easily, because his length of front, his look up front, his angle, his set, his reach is tremendously good. He's kind of getting out of bounds a little bit as far as where he's at on frame size. He probably had to be held on to a little bit too long. I love his bone work, his angle, his set. He's too washed out and plain in his shape down his top. Doesn't have the muscle shape behind. Logically, the next one kind of had to fall in place here. Stoutness of skull, turn of rib cage, body shape, angle and set up front, muscle shape behind. He gets a little bit crustier up in his crest there also, kind of like our class winner, but doesn't have that extra bulk and freshness at top we had in our class winner there either. The calico pig here is really neat looking. That one's a sharp looking one from the side. He's tall fronted, level design. He's really good as far as his flex and his reach out of his front end. He gets a little bit less secure on his hock behind. He needs to be a little bigger footed, and I'd like to stouten his skull work. I like him good looking, but still got to have some dimension of jawline to have some stoutness to take that motor right on back through the body. The white sock pig I got next here is one that has a good kind of a look from the side. Again, he's probably been around just a little bit longer than ideal. Maybe had to be held on to a little bit. A little plainer in his muscle shape. Good looking, good profile, good kind of design. Just need more bone work and more stoutness. Belted hog we got is a lot like the one ahead of him, just a little less bone work, a little less chest, a little wants to cave and funnel just a little bit coming directly at us. But still a pig that's got some frame size extension to him, has some muscle shape down his top. He just needs to be stoutening his bone work. The blue-eyed pig we finish up with here, kind of big scaled extended kind of pig, has length to front and elevation. He gets a little too flat and plain in his overall pattern and doesn't have quite as much total product working in him. Good class of pigs. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Winning class number 2 of the heavyweight crossbred market barrows, Whitley Kopp of Washington. Second, Bradley Cron. Third, Lauren Wright. Fourth, Jake Henderson. Fifth, Coleman Seal. Sixth, Grant Bowman. And seventh, Sawyer Zolman. We will now drive for your champion heavyweight crossbred market hog. Coming out of class number 1, Bradley Cron of Augusta. Out of your just completed class number 2, Whitley Kopp of Washington. Second, out of class number 1, Ella Jane Michael of Augusta. And your second, out of class number 2, Bradley Cron of Augusta. We are now driving for your champion heavyweight crossbred market hog. Division Champion Reserves, we need you on standby. Division Champion Reserves, we need you on standby. Jackson Kelly, Charles Farmer, Landon Marshall, and Coleman Seal, we need you on standby.
Well, let's give your heavyweight division here a nice round of applause again. Good class of pigs out here for champion. Again, 4 individuals fit a nice kind of a pattern. You know, again, regardless of what color they are, they all have that same kind of a basic look relative to what we had to use in those classes. They can get out here. You don't have to make excuses about them limping or gimping or not being able to go. Looks to me like they got good running gears in them. They got product in them. They got eye appeal. Again, a really nice set of pigs. Again, try to tie as many good things with the fewest number of problems together. Again, we got issues on a few things. The second place pig over here is awesome. That's the best running gear of all of them, but he's just simply a little part past 12 o'clock and a little beyond kind of being where he needs to be for turn and muscle and freshness. The class winner there is one that is really good as far as freshness at top. That is a big top. If you had a carcass contest, that would be that number there would be one of them you'd look at as far as true muscle shape, and he's still able to motor and go. Want to maybe widen him up at his base just a little bit going away and clean his front end up just a nickel. The class winner here we mentioned was extremely good as far as just running gear and proportions. Stout, he's maybe just a little more advanced in his maturity out of his head, but no more than the rest of them out here. Really, he proportions extremely good. The other pig was the second place pig. Again, caved a little bit up front. He doesn't give us the bulk and stoutness down the seat of his pants there, going directly away. Good looking one from the side with a really nice set up front. 2 of them that do the most, the best for me together are your 2 class winners. Young man right here's got your division champion. Young lady right here's got reserve.
Your champion heavyweight crossbred market hog comes out of class number 1, Bradley Cron. Reserve goes to Whitley Kopp of Washington. It is now time to drive for your champion crossbred market bearer. Coming out of Division 1, Jackson Kelly of Clark. Beating them all in the middleweight division, Landon Marshall of Augusta. And out of your just completed heavyweight division, Bradley Cron of Augusta.
Well, again, let's give our champion exhibitors here for our Barra division here a nice round of applause. Three really nice Barras. You know, those they represent the industry, I think, very well where we're at as far as type and kind. And then look at the work ethic. These kids, I mean, they can drive them all day long, and they're not going to miss a step. I mean, presentation, skin, hair, their ability to get these things driven in a very humane kind of a way and get the very best out of them. Again, that's a good batch of kids, and again, it's always neat to watch that work ethic and see what it does for these young people on down the road. We kind of look at these here, and again, comparing each of them a little bit and trying to put the most of the best together. We start with our lightweight and talk about that one, a good-looking one that's still on his way up. That one is immature-looking enough out of his head. And again, I don't care how old he is. He just looks the right out of his front end. Good running gear. He's a shade long-bodied versus the other two, but he, I think, won that division fairly handily. If that one goes ahead and bulks up over a period of time, if you were going to show him as a heavyweight, he's got the capability of doing that. Our middleweight is a little the other end of the spectrum. He's really bulky, stout, dense, really good as far as being a very boxy built kind of a hog that's more middle of the road or shorter body kind of a pig, but really has a running gear. You know, that hog has a very good skull, chest, knee is very good, bone work is good. He plants and goes and squares up extremely good. You know, where do you change him? We mentioned class. You know, clean him up in his crest and his throat last here just a bit, make him just a little neater look. And our heavyweight is one that again came in and I think won the class and division very handily. Good skull, really stout skull, but an awesome kind of a look out in front of his blade. He's very good in his angles and he's set out of his front end. He leaves us exactly the same way, and he's not the bulkiest centered one of the three, but he's second from that aspect. But the look he's got up front, the squareness of build, the bone work, everything sets and goes with the right kind of muscle shape. That's going to be your champion.
Your champion crossbred market bearer comes out of the heavyweight division, Bradley Cron of Augusta. That drops in Whitley Kopp out of Washington for reserve contention.
Before we drop that second heavy, and again, we mentioned, that one was really fresh topped. The best part of that, Barry, is his top line as far as getting up in behind him and watching that loin edge and a ditch running down his top. And then he doesn't flatten in his side. He's good in his turn of his rib and his body. He's heavy structured. He's a little coarser in his bone work, and he's a little coarser in his skull. Kind of goes hand in hand there once in a while. And the main place I'd like to change that one is going directly away. He's wider up high in his hip than he is down low. He wants to cave just a little bit from his hock to the ground and get almost a cow hock just a bit there behind. Like to clean his joints up just a little, but that's a very good kind of a pig. Stout, heavy boned, very good kind of muscle shape. Second best one of time and most together. That'd be young man's middleweight.
Your reserve champion crossbred market bearer comes out of the middleweight division, Landon Marshall of Augusta. That concludes our Crossbred Market Bearer show. It is now time to move on to the Crossbred Market Gilts. Lightweight, Crossbred Market Gilts. Lightweight, Crossbred Market Gilts. This is your first and final call. Lightweight, Crossbred Market Gilts. Jackson Kelly, please report to the announcer stand. Jackson Kelly, please report to the announcer stand. We have your exhibitor number. We are now driving the lightweight crossbred market gilts. Entering the ring now, Selena Perez of Virginia Beach, John Hale of Hanover, Meredith Horsley of Virginia Beach, Peyton Johnston of Augusta, Grant Bowman of Shenandoah, Mason Vanderhyde of Pennsylvania, Landon Marshall of Augusta, and Isaac Cyphers of Washington. Middleweight crossbred market gilts. Middleweight crossbred market gilts. This is your first call. First call, middleweight crossbred market gilts. Our show would not be possible today without the help of our show staff and volunteers. We'd like to thank Emily Bowman to my right, the Virginia Youth Livestock Program graduate and Virginia Tech graduate student lining up classes today. And helping in the ring, we have Tim Mize of Fauquier County, Mary Ott Prados of Fauquier County, Emily Scholes of Warren County. We'd also like to thank members of our State Fair Virginia Youth Livestock Advisory Council, Scott and Tabby Buchanan, and Shane and Ryan Horsley. We'd also like to thank Caroline Haygood of Pennsylvania and Abby Widener of Pennsylvania for their contributions to today's show. We'd also like to give a special thanks to Crystal Ross, the State Fair Virginia Youth Livestock Advisory Council members, for securing sponsorships and awards for youth swine shows. Middleweight crossbred market gilts. Middleweight crossbred market gilts class number 2. This is your second and final call for class number 2. Middleweight crossbred market gilts.
Well, just the one big class of lightweights we've got here, 8-8 in this particular division. The off-belted gilt that we start with is a fresh, well-presented kind of a gilt that, again, proportions extremely good. Again, very good sculled kind of a hog with a good jaw line, boxy length to body, but not too short. As tall as shoulder she is, her hip. Levels out extremely good with extremely good freshness at top and muscle volume behind. This one is a cleaner jointed kind of a pig that, again, I think still has the right stuff as far as being able to put everything together in stoutness, soundness, proportion, all those things fit very, very well. If I was to change this pig, I'd maybe extend the head and neck out of in front of the body just a nickel, and then right in front of the blade there where that one wants to raise its head carriage, just tie that one together with a little more smoothness, but that's, again, a very subtle criticism of a very nice kind of a gilt. Also like this blue-eyed gilt really well in second. That is a naturally high-headed, good fronted hog. I like the extension of front end probably better than the one we had as our class winner. This one doesn't clean up in her joints near as good as our class winner did. Going directly away. This one concerns me a little bit about the swelling in the hocks or the shape of the hock. It could be a mature kind of a hock. There's a little more extra swelling, particularly this left rear, but that's a really good gilt. I love the front end. I love the angle and set up front. Bone, foot size, proportions very good. Extra good kind of squareness at top. Not quite as much stifle shape maybe as our class winner, but those are two really nice kind of gilts. One we got in third that I went ahead and weighed there is really neat. If this one had just a nickel more diameter of bone, this one is a very good looking one, tall fronted, does blend very good up high. Fresh squareness at top is very good. Stifle shape is better than our second place pig. We just don't have the diameter of bone work to kind of from the body line down to match everything we're seeing up high, but that's a really nice kind of a female there too. Really liked this one when it first came in the ring and still do. I like this one from the side extremely well. This angle I'm getting right here coming at us is where that one falls out of bed just a little bit. A little narrower chested, a little narrowed in its knee, wants to funnel to the ground just a bit. But you want to talk about one where the bones are down low, match everything we see up high, big-footed, good set, good angle, a well-prepared kind of a pig, well-shown kind of a pig that everything fits and balances really well. Just got to fix that one coming at us. Young lady here is one that, again, has a really sharp-looking one, neat-looking up front, a cocky, exotic looking out of its head carriage. Everything blends and fits at the top of the skeleton very well. A fresh, square top kind of a hog with an abundance of muscle. A little lighter skeleton, wants to roll her front feet just a nickel. She gets a little wider and tighter in her hock going directly away, but a really nice kind of a gilt there. The one coming out next is one that I guess kind of logically had to fall in line next. This one takes a good long kind of a stride. She gets a little softer in her front pasture and runs downhill a nickel. She gets a little rounder out of her hip and wants to roll off her hoof wall just a little bit, but compared to the two we got remaining, the bones still match everything we're seeing up high. I like the youthful skull shape that this one's got. Squareness at top's very good. muscularity. Just got to reconstruct the way that one kind of gets out of each end. The one coming out next, so we just never saw this one out of first gear. I just need to see that one go. That one has got to have a running gear and get out and get after it. If that one would get out and trail really good, I like that one better than the one we just used above it because she's taller fronted. She's got just a little more stoutness at front end. She's not quite as round out of her hip, but she just never takes a long stride. She wants to search every step, and we just got to see that one go a little bit. The one we finish up with, neat, tall fronted, good looking out of its front end, shapely down its top and through its hip, a little lighter skeleton, a little more forward in its shoulder to knee and front foot. Got to see that one laid back with a little more comfort level. Got to see the same thing behind, a little more set to its hock with a little more bone work, a little more stoutness to the ground. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Another good class.
Winning your lightweight crossbred market guild class is Landon Marshall of Augusta. Second, Grant Bowman of Shenandoah. Third, Isaac Cyphers of Washington. Fourth, Mason Vanderhyde of Pennsylvania. Fifth, Meredith Horsley of Virginia Beach. Sixth, Selena Perez of Virginia Beach. Seventh, John Hale of Hanover. And eighth, Peyton Johnston of Augusta. We will now drive the middleweight crossbred market gilts. Entering the ring now is Madison Randall of Page, Skylar Talley of Augusta, Meredith Horsley of Virginia Beach, Grant Bowman of Shenandoah, Clara Stevens of Shenandoah, Luke Wetzel of Shenandoah, Coleman Seal of Augusta, Ada Elshire of Augusta, and Virginia Widener of Pennsylvania. Heavyweight crossbred market gilts, heavyweight crossbred market gilts. This is your first call for heavyweight crossbred market gilts. Heavyweight crossbred market gilts. Heavyweight crossbred market gilts. This is your second and final call. Heavyweight crossbred market gilts. Second and final call.
Well, a good division, but a very challenging division to put together. Again, I'll visit with you about the differences I'm seeing. The black-spotted, black-eyed pig there that is the one we're going to start with is better coming at us. Squareness of chest, knee, front foot, very, very good. That's a stout, bold, boxy built one. That's really bold and stout in her skull. She's really got good turn to her shoulder blade and a big forearm working in her, but yet doesn't roll and bulldog and get out there too coarse by any means with that stoutness. That hog's very good down its top, is good in squareness and muscle behind, bones down low, match everything we're seeing up high. Strong pastern strength, which we're seeing some issues on some of these other ones down here. That's just a good, solid hog. She doesn't wow you any place, just a very, very good kind of a pig. The white sock pig we got in second. If we were in a breeding gilt class, this would be definitively the class winner. That one paints a picture and a silhouette going from the side as good as any you can make. Tall-shouldered, long-fronted, feminine, a very good running gear as far as being able to take a long kind of stride, heavy bone, big-footed kind of a gear. She gets very, very marginal as far as where her chest width and where she is at her knee. She gets a little flatter in her shoulder and her rib cage. She gets just a little plainer from that aspect. And as you watch her go, particularly from this right-hand side, when she cranks that head up, she wants to pop that elbow forward there, get a little farther forward. She takes a good long stride and disguises it pretty well, but it still maybe needs to be changed. That neat pig just got too many issues there as far as a couple, three of those things I talked to you about. Very neat pig we got here, and this one here is just running on flat tires a little bit. We need to air this one up on both ends. A little flatter pastured up front, a little flatter pastured behind. Very neat looking as far as head carriage and length of front. Good squareness of chest, I think adequate in her knee. She's really good as far as her levelness of design and the way she profiles and reaches off of both ends. I like the bones to match everything we're seeing up high. Takes a long kind of a stride. We just need to fix that couple things I mentioned there, particularly pastern strength there. She's getting a little softer. Doesn't impede her movement, but she needs to be fixed here a bit. This one here, if this one was in the lightweight division, would probably fit the bill a little bit better. She's a little more moderate, not as elevated maybe as the other ones we've got out here in this middleweight division. She wants to run downhill just a nickel, gets a little softer in her front foot and wants to roll these front feet a little bit. Main place I want to change her is going directly away. She gets wider in her hock, and as she plants, she wants to pop her hock and go out every time she takes a step. We got to reconstruct that. That's going to wear that joint out over a period of time. As far as freshness and presentation, that is as fresh a topped and as muscular a hog as we've got in this particular division. I just got to change that structure there to get her any higher in this particular drive. This one here gets a little harder and harsher through the center portion of her body. Muscular, going directly away. Lots of muscle going away. A lot of market characteristics. Square top with a good ditch running down her top. She just gets a little harder and harsher through the center portion of her body. She gets a little wider in her hock as she goes directly away. One coming out next. Next one coming out, another neat-looking one from the side. Good-looking, sharp-looking one up in front of her blade, elevated, good as far as her levelness of design. Very muscular kind of a hog. She kind of wants to plan and track and paddle on the outside of her skeleton as you watch her go directly away from us. She wants to get outside of her skeleton a little too much with a little lighter set of bones, like to stouten her skull shape just a little bit to get her any higher in the drive. Pig coming out next, just a good solid hog. She wants to roll and bulldog on her front feet just a little bit, gets a little lower set in her front end, but you watch about the good things of her. She's long in front of her blade. She's level in her design. She's level out through her hip, and I think maintains a good kind of a stride with good kind of squareness going directly away. We just got to change those front feet just a nickel and stouten her and her bone work just a bit. The Calico coming out is one that initially when you first see her, man, she's stout skull. She's really got shape, and she does, but, man, she gets tight. She really straighter out of her front end. She wants to cave at her knee a little bit, and particularly the structure, I'd like to change her going directly away. When she plants particularly that right rear leg, she wants to take that pop and hyperextend it forward just a bit. It needs to go back the opposite way to be correct in its skeleton. She's kind of standing there doing that right now and kind of wanting to push that thing forward. If we could angle her and make her more comfortable, you could slide her a place or two higher. The pig we finish up with here, the wide belted gilt, gets a little too long-bodied for her own good. It just kind of throws her out of balance a little bit. She's stout-skulled, elevated, got levelness of design, but she gets probably a rib and a half longer bodied than maybe what we would deem ideal to make everything tie together with the right balance. She squares up good. She's a sound hog that's got some shape, got some squareness going directly away. Just got to fix those aspects. Let's give them a nice round of applause there for your middleweight division.
Winning the middleweight crossbred market guild is Skylar Talley out of Augusta. Second, Luke Wetzel of Shenandoah. Third, Virginia Widener out of Pennsylvania. Fourth, Clara Stevens of Shenandoah. Fifth, Grant Bowman of Shenandoah. Sixth, Coleman Seal of Augusta. Seventh, Meredith Horsley of Virginia Beach. Eighth, Ada Elshire of Augusta. And ninth, Madison Randall of Page. We will now drive the heavyweight crossbred market guilds. Entering the ring now, Jackson Kelly of Clark, Michaela Lloyd of Augusta, Spencer Trumbo of Rockingham, Whitley Kopp of Washington, Hunter Ross of Virginia Beach, Lily Poyser of Shenandoah, and Lucas Myers of Rockingham. At the conclusion of this particular class, we will drive for your champion market guild and reserve crossbred market guild. On standby, we need Landon Marshall and Grant Bowman out of the lightweights and Skylar Talley and Luke Wetzel out of the middleweights. Following the champion crossbred market guild drive, we will drive the purebred market hogs. Once again, we'd like to thank our general sponsors for this week, Craig County Farm Bureau and Washington County Farm Bureau. We'd also like to thank the Farm Credit of Virginia's for providing water for all of our exhibitors and staff for this week. Additional sponsors include the Virginia Pork Council and Land of Promise Farms. We thank them for their partnership providing the Youth Swine Showmanship banners. Please put your hands together and join us in thanking our sponsors for this week. Today's show would not be possible without the State Fair of Virginia's support for our youth livestock shows by providing this venue, covering our judge expenses, and paying out over $35,000 in cash premiums and $28,500 in earned scholarships for our exhibitors.
Really nice division of pigs here that we've got in our heavyweights. Young man here with the multicolored shirt that wins the drive with that wide belted gilt. Really has a nice hog. I like both these quite a bit. This one here has again, for being in a heavier weight range. Sometimes they can get a little rangy looking out of their front end. This one has a more youthful head. And again, I don't care if it's 5 months old or 15 months old. It looks right in the ring, and we're just doing visuals here in this thing. And she looks the part out of her front end, and she's very good as far as her profile design. Gives you a nice side shot as you watch her profile. She comes at us true and square. She's right on her front feet. She's good in her chest and her knee. She balances and proportions extremely good from the side. Her bones down low and her foot size and strength of pastern match all that we're seeing up high in a very, very correct kind of a package. She's not wild anywhere. She's just a very good pig with no problems, and that's kind of what we're kind of looking for: balance, proportions, eye appeal, and all that. The one in second, another one, a tremendous running gear. I really like the way this one gets out in motors and the way this one flexes off her hind leg extremely well. She may be just a shot more genuine right down her top as far as maybe not having quite as much fit and fluff on her. She's not quite as good in her throat latch and her crest as the pig we started class with. She's not quite as strong in her front pastern, but she doesn't have any real issues there. She's very good as far as just being, again, a square, a good built one and has shape and looks like one that kind of everything fits with a lot of balance with no real problems. Then we kind of logically had to run in with this calico pig here next. Runs out of gas a little bit as far as boldness coming at us. Doesn't have that extra stoutness and muscle we had in either one of our top two placing hogs. But compared to the rest of the competition, still a very nice design one. Stout skulled, tall fronted, level design. Takes a good long kind of a stride off of both ends and squares up extremely good. The one we got coming out next is one that, again, has good kind of muscle shape down her top. She doesn't have quite that extra heaviness of structure, and she doesn't stay quite as intact in her elbow. She wants to roll outside in her elbow and bulldog just a little bit up front. She gets a little tighter, more tentative out of her stride behind. Good up high, gets a little bit peaked in her bone work down low, like to stouten her bone work and make her just a little bigger footed with a little truer set of hock just going directly away. What we got coming out next, we started running into some structural difficulties here. This is a neat, sharp-fronted one here that squares up good in her chest. She's good in her turn of rib cage, great big forearm working in her, heavy bone, but as she turns and goes directly away, she wants to round out of her hip and get wider in her hock and a little round and tight in the way she goes. She takes a long enough kind of a stride, but she wants to bow leg, get a little bow-legged behind. The blue we got here coming out here next, we talked about these hogs that want to get out in their elbow and kind of roll and bulldog a little bit on their front feet. She does that, and I'd like to change that and square her up in that aspect, elevate her front end. Need to change her going directly away, too. She's wider than she needs to be going directly away. A very wide stifled hog that wants to paddle outside of herself and get a little more bow-legged. But you talk about one with natural rib and natural shape and muscle, she's got that really well. Running gear is in favor of this one over the one we used just above it. Just simply too plain and bland in her overall muscle shape and product, and doesn't have the extra bone work. I like the profile design. If we were in a breeding gilt class, you'd like this one about third or fourth because of the correctness of design. We just got to see a little more of her here in this particular division. Let's give him a nice round of applause once again.
Winning the heavyweight crossbred market gilts is Jackson Kelly of Clark County. Second, Hunter Ross of Virginia Beach. Third, Michaela Lloyd of Augusta. Fourth, Spencer Trumbo of Rockingham. Fifth, Whitley Kopp of Washington. Sixth, Lily Poyser of Shenandoah. And seventh, Lucas Myers of Rockingham. It is now time to drive for your champion crossbred market gilt. Beating them all in the lightweight crossbred market gilt division, it's Landon Marshall of Augusta. Snagging the blue ribbon in the middleweight crossbred market gilt division, it's Skylar Talley of Augusta. And out of your just completed heavyweight crossbred market gilt division, Jackson Kelly of Clark County.
Well, again, let's give your gilt division winners here a nice round of applause there for their competition. Again, you get all three of them back out here. They fit a pretty nice kind of a pattern, a lot of the similarities of look and design, and again, it's kind of what we're looking for. And a good eye appeal. They've got shape, they're sound, they're secure, they're square. No excuses kind of hogs, meat and potatoes kind of pigs that have a show ring look, and that's kind of what it's about, is not getting too far off in the weeds and out in the ditches there where you, like, what am I going to do now because this is such a mess. We got to keep hogs that are correct and sound and kind of able to go, and we can do all the neat stuff as far as fluffing on them in the ring for making them look the part and all that. But let's just make a good built hogs that are sound and correct, that have product in them. I think will always be very, very secure. Study these three out here again. They each have a case to talk about there for a division champion, as far as being quality enough to be that division champion. The one that puts the best together to me has for the division has a very youthful kind of a look out of its front end, levelness of design, heaviness of structure, dead square, coming and going. Very good as far as strength of foot and squareness of foot. And men's heavyweight's going to be your champion.
Your champion crossbred market gilt comes out of the heavyweight division. It's Jackson Kelly. That drops in second in that division, Hunter Ross. Class 1 purebred market hogs. Class 1 purebred market hogs. This is your first call. Class 1 purebred market hogs. First call.
Well, that reserve heavy comes in, and again, it's comes right into the heat of competition. With that one we mentioned in class, I really like that pair quite a bit, and running gear wise, that's where this one really fit a good bill. And just watch that one if you want to talk about comfort level and effortless movement and flexibility and reach of stride and squareness of build. She does that very well. She's not quite as neat and cute out of her front end as far as throat latch and where she is in her crest, but not an ugly one by any means. That's a good front one. If we were in a breeding gilt class, that one would walk the dog, all day long. She's still got enough for me as far as market characteristics go. There also reserve heavy is going to be reserve grand.
Your reserve champion crossbred market gilt comes back out of the heavyweight division, Hunter Ross. We are now ready to begin our purebred market hog show. We're looking for class number 1. Class number 1, purebred market hogs. Entering the ring now in Class 1 of the Purebred Market Hogs, Dakota Dunlap of Gloucester and Bradley Murphy of Gloucester. Class 2 Purebred Market Hogs. Class 2 Purebred Market Hogs, this is your first call. First call, Class 2 Purebred Market Hogs.
Just the two lightweight purebreds here, and again, they're similar in kind and their proportions, kind of the way they hit the ring here. One of them is a little better in his top line as far as being a little better behind his blade with a little more flexibility of reach of hind leg. That'd be the young lady's Duroc here is going to be your class winner. Again, inherently a little lower head set, and they never look as good when they kind of put their head into the sawdust. But if that one would crank its head, I think you'd probably appreciate the design that one's got. To change her, she gets a little bit softer on her front pastern. She wants to roll on the outside of her hoof wall and get a little wider hock butt. Length of stride and flexibility and angle as far as that part goes, all very good. She's better in her top line, behind her blades and right in her ham-loin junction. The Berkshire hog here we've got is one that probably has just a little more loin edge working in it than our Berkshire hog. But again, profile-wise, is one that gets a little lower set up front and wants to pull and tuck those hind legs up under it just a little bit. Equally as soft pastern up front as the Berkshire. A good muscular kind of hog down his top. Again, that probably has more true dimension of muscle than our Duroc hog. We just need to see that one reconstructed a little bit as far as eye appeal from the side. Let's give him a nice round of applause there. First class of pures.
Winning class number 1 of the Purebred Market Hogs, Dakota Dunlap of Gloucester. Second in that class, Bradley Murphy of Gloucester. We're now looking for class number 2 of the Purebred Market Hogs. Correction, winning class number 1, Bradley Murphy of Gloucester. Second, Dakota Dunlap of Gloucester. Entering the ring now, class number 2 of the Purebred Market Hogs, Zachary Murphy of Gloucester. A second entry from Zachary Murphy of Gloucester and Helen Catherine Farmer of Pennsylvania. Class 3 Purebred Market Hogs. Class 3 Purebred Market Hogs, this is your first call. First call, Class 3 Purebred Market Hogs.
Well, this class appears here, our Duroc Bear here is going to be your class winner. Again, wins it pretty handily. Pretty nice kind of a pig. I mean, this is a really good design pig, has eye appeal for the show ring, but then practicality. You know, that one is a stout's called, good-looking one with an awesome kind of a chest and good in his knee. Some of this breed has been on fire as far as really being good, but there's some of them are getting a little wrong coming at you, but this one I think is very secure there. Might want to lay it back and shoulder the knee just a nickel, but I think very, very nice kind of a pig that has a turn of rib, body shape, a fresh topped one that has muscularity. If we were to change that one structurally, want to hinge that and release that one just a little more comfortably behind. That's a very nice pig. The Berkshire here that the young fat man has right over here is going to be a second. There's more true muscle and dimension and width in this one than in our third place one. Opened up in its rib and chest a little better, a little more turn of loin edge, a little better stifled kind of a pig that has, I think, a respectable kind of a running gear compared to our class winner. Not the bone work and the profile and design eye appeal we had in that Duroc, but nice kind of a pig. The Berkshire we finish up with, designed almost identically from the profile of our second place one, but then you study that one coming directly at us, not quite as wide in the chest, wants to funnel the ground a little bit, gets a little plainer and more bland in its muscle shape down its top and not as thick stifled as what either one of our top two placing pigs, but good design pig. Has some rib depth and some depth of body as far as growth of potential goes. Let's give him a nice round of applause there for your purebred class.
Winning class number 2 of the Purebred Market Hogs, Helen Catherine Farmer of Pennsylvania. Second, Zachary Murphy. And third, Zachary Murphy. We are now going to drive class 3 Purebred Market Hogs. Entering the ring now is Isaac Cyphers of Washington, Grant Bowman of Shenandoah, and Bradley Cron of Augusta. At the conclusion of this class, we will be looking for first and seconds in the 2 previous classes. On standby, we need Bradley Murphy, Helen Catherine Farmer, and Zachary Murphy. At the conclusion of the Purebred Drive, we will be rolling right into our grand overall market hog. Bradley Cron, Landon Marshall, Jackson Kelly, and Hunter Ross, please be on standby.
This class of heavyweight pures here, the young fella to my left that has the Berkshire Bear here is going to be your class winner. Really bold and robust and stout with more true muscle shape and product than our other two. This one here has a good enough look out of its front end. I like the profile design. Opened up extremely good through its rib and body shape. Tremendous amount of muscle volume behind. I think handles it very well. And we talk about making hogs wide chested and good in her knee. He's on the edge of being a little too far the other way. He wants to get a little more bulldoggy out front and gets a little coarser in his elbow and shoulder blade there a little bit, but rolls his front feet as a result of that to kind of compensate so he motors better. But again, that's just a minor criticism of a very, very nice kind of a Berkshire Bear. It's got a lot of good to him. One that is a little more intact and square coming directly at us is Berkshire Bear here is going to be second. He proportions really good, tall-fronted, boxier body, good as far as his levelness of design. He doesn't take as long a stride behind. He doesn't, even though he's better as far as his elbow coming at us, he doesn't want to roll on his front feet bad, but he's not laid back and he's shoulder to knee and take quite as flexible a stride as far as length of stride goes. Good kind of a Bear, not as much product. Yorkshire Bear is one that, again, has muscle shape and has a little more going directly away than the Berkshire Bear we had in second, but you back off of him, watch him profile. He runs downhill just a nickel. He gets longer in the tooth on his front pasterns. He kind of wants to search and peck away at where he wants to plant those front feet a little bit. I'd like to take about 2 ribs of length of body out of him, box him up, and make everything proportioned a little bit better. But a good-looking one that well prepared and very good as far as cleanliness atop and have the muscularity behind. Let's give him a nice round of applause once again.
Winning class number 3 of the Purebred Market Hogs, Bradley Cron of Augusta. Second, Grant Bowman of Shenandoah. And third, Isaac Cyphers of Washington. It is now time to drive for your grand champion Purebred Market Hog. Coming out of class number 1 is Bradley Murphy. Beating them all in class number 2, Helen Catherine Farmer of Pennsylvania. And out of your just completed class number 3, Bradley Cron of Augusta. Grand and Reserve, Crossbred Market Barrows and Market Gilts, please be on standby. Crossbred Market Gilts and Market Barrow winners, please be on standby.
Well, let's give your purebred exhibitors a nice round of applause there for their contribution to the show. 3 nice individuals that we get back out here, and again, you always try to put together as many good things in a package. Try to keep them as correct as you can with extras, and it's not always easy to do and keep them correct enough. But I think we've done that out here with what we had to use with the few numbers that we had to mess with. You kind of study them for yourselves there a little bit. To me, the freshest one that is the squares coming at us, very good as far as having a youthful kind of look down its top, good muscularity behind, maybe make it hinge just a little looser out of its hip. Young ladies, Durock's going to be your champion pure.
Your grand champion Purebred Market Hog comes out of class number 2, Helen Catherine Farmer. That drops in Zachary Murphy for reserve contention.
We drop in our second. Again, we talked about one that had some volume to the center as far as depth of flank and all that. I like to profile that one a little different with a little more sharpness of look. The young man's Berkshire over here to my right we mentioned was really robust and stout and really takes a nice long kind of a stride. I'd like to square him up in his elbow and front foot there just a nickel, but man, he takes a good long stride. I love the way he flexes behind with the abundance of muscle that he's got. He's not quite as youthful in his look as that Durock we use, but that's a very nice kind of a barra. That's going to be reserved.
Your reserve champion Purebred Market Hog comes out of class number 3, Bradley Cron of Augusta. At this time, we are ready to drive for our Supreme Champion Market Hog. Ringside, we are looking for our Grand and Reserve Crossbred Market Bearers, Bradley Cron and Landon Marshall. We are also looking for our Champion and Reserve Crossbred Market Gilts, Jackson Kelly and Hunter Ross. For Grand and Reserve overall Market Hog today, we have buckles, chairs, and tables over off to my left. Thank you once again for all of our sponsors. It is now time to drive for your supreme champion market hog. Your champion crossbred market bearer coming out of Division 3, Bradley Cron of Augusta. Make some noise.
He's loving it.
Your champion crossbred market guild is Jackson Kelly of Clark County. Out of your just completed purebred market hog division, Helen Catherine Farmer of Pennsylvania. Make some noise for all of our division winners in the Market Hog Show. Your reserve champion crossbred market bearer comes out of Division 2, Landon Marshall. Your reserve champion market guild out of Division 3, Hunter Ross of Virginia Beach. And your reserve champion purebred market hog, Bradley Cron of Augusta. Once again, make some noise for all of our division winners in the Market Hog Show.
You can go ahead and park them, kids. Won't take very long. How appropriate for a champion drive to have Enter Sandman in the state of Virginia. It's pretty cool. One of my favorite songs, that and AC/DC. I can listen to that all day long, so thank you for that. It was raises hair on the back of your neck. I know it does when you go out to Virginia Tech down there at those ball games, and every time I hear it, I think about it. And again, thanks for that. I appreciate the invitation to come back. I know we got Showmanship and breeding guilds tomorrow and all that. So we still got more to do, but just a few things. Again, I appreciate the chance to come back and work with you. I've been doing this a long time. If you heard, I've been doing 45, 46 years of this, and I never take it lightly or never take it for granted, and I always try to again think about it going into it and try to do as conscientious a job as I possibly can do. And one thing about it, whether I do them right or wrong, it's an opinion, but I'll give you a fair shake. I don't politic. I don't play any games. I just try to judge the best livestock and tell you with the evaluation through my eyes a little bit what I can do. So I guarantee you that that's been done here today. It's been a good set of pigs. It's been a great set of kids, and looking forward to Showmanship there later to evaluate that there also. This program, again, we see all the support back here with the sponsorships and all the things that are being given for this kids' hard work and their families' hard work. This is not an easy project. It is not an easy thing to do. It's not an inexpensive thing to do. Life is expensive. I don't know if anybody's noticed or not, but it's high to do anything. Not going to get into any kind of politics, but basically raising kids in the barn, doing this, will solve a lot of problems in the future if you can take care of the business at home. And yes, give them a nice round of applause. Lots of turmoil, lots of bad things happening, and some good things happening in the process. So, again, whatever side of the aisle you're on, it's immaterial. there is right and wrong, and just do the right thing. Keep your nose clean and do everything right. And try to teach everybody, and especially this generation coming on, how to do that right. And those young people will be the ones that are going to guide the rest of the way out until the second coming. So, again, thank you so much for coming. Thanks, Lau, for me and being here. I've enjoyed it. Fire them up one more time. We'll get you a grand in reserve. We've talked to them a lot today. I'm going to lay this down. I'll go out and shake the hands of your champion exhibitors.
Your Supreme Champion Market Hog comes out of the Bear Division. Congratulations, Bradley Cron of Augusta. Your Reserve Champion Market Hog comes out of the Market Guild Division. Congratulations, Jackson Kelly of Clark.
We will begin showmanship at 11.
We're almost ready to begin our 2025 State Fair of Virginia Swine Showmanship. If you're just joining us this afternoon, we'd like to introduce our hog judge today, Mr. Jim McCoy. He reigns from Bloomingburg, Ohio. Jim is retired from Real McCoy Genetics, a show pig and boar stud operation. Currently, he is operating an independent show pig consulting business, assisting with multiple boar studs, breeders, and show pig producers. Jim assists them with marketing and sales and helping families with their new purchases, making the show pig life a more fulfilling experience. Jim is married to his wife, Amanda, and has 4 children and 12 grandchildren. He has been judging swine shows at all levels over the past 45 years in 33 states. Let's give a warm Virginia welcome to our judge, Mr. Jim McCoy. Entering the ring now is Heat 1 of Senior Showmanship. Jackson Kelly of Clark, Dakota Dunlap, Gloucester, Hunter Ross, Virginia Beach, Addison Green, Frederick, Landon Marshall, Augusta, Michaela Lloyd, Augusta, Grant Bowman, Shenandoah, Bradley Murphy, Gloucester, and Luke Wetzel of Shenandoah. Heat 2, Senior Showmanship. This is your first call. First call, Heat 2, Senior Showmanship. Once again, we'd like to welcome you to the 2025 Virginia State Fair Youth Livestock Shows. Today's show would not be possible without our sponsors. The State Fair of Virginia supports our youth livestock shows by providing this venue, covering our judge expenses, and paying out over $35,000 in cash premiums and $28,500 in earned scholarships for our exhibitors. First Bank and Trust has provided an exhibitor t-shirt for each of our exhibitors this week. This year's t-shirt has been created in memory of our friend, colleague, and longtime State Fair Virginia supporter, Casey Daniel. Casey was the inspiration behind and operated our info tent for 6 years, providing exhibitors and parents with guidance, information, and answers to all their questions. Casey served as the 4-H Positive Youth Development Agent in Orange County for 23 years, impacting more youth than can be counted, and not only spreading the mission of 4-H, but truly living it each and every day. We lost Casey on August 7th to a short but hard-fought battle with cancer. Casey was responsible for the creation of our exhibitor t-shirts for many years and had already begun work on this year's shirt, giving it the same time and attention as always. She wouldn't want tears, so please join me in a round of applause for our amazing colleague, whom we miss so much, Casey Daniel.
Well, we've got senior showmanship here. We've got two heats to get our top 10 placings out of. So I'm going to hold, obviously, at least 5. I'm going to keep 6 out of this group, and not knowing exactly what's coming in that next heat. I've got 6 of them, I think, are worthy of coming back that really have some extras as far as aggressiveness level and still see it being very smooth and staying out of trouble and out of the pack. The 3 we've got remaining out here still do a very nice job. There's not a bad showman in here. And again, just keep working at it. They're basically positioning, like crossing over on my side of the pig like we just saw it here is kind of a no-no in showmanship. Always transition to the other side of the pig. Keep your other hand off the pig. Those are the basic things to maintain that position, eye contact, all those things very well. But these young people here did a very nice job, just not quite the aggressiveness level of what we had in the 6 that we're going to come back with. So give them a nice round of applause once again as they head back.
Coming back to join us in the Champion Senior Showmanship Drive momentarily, Jackson Kelly, Hunter Ross, Landon Marshall, Michaela Lloyd, and Luke Wetzel. It is now time to drive for Heat 2 of Senior Showmanship. Entering the ring now for Heat 2 Senior Showmanship, Cole Bickling of Augusta, Bradley Cron, Augusta, Robert Ford, Warren, Gaislyn Swisher, Augusta, Garrett Bowman, Augusta, Tristan Buswell, Gloucester, Selena Perez, Virginia Beach, Carrington Floyd, Augusta, and Logan Cassiano of Loudon. We'd like to thank some of our additional sponsors for their contributions to today's show and throughout the weekend. We'd like to thank Farm Credit of the Virginias for providing water for our exhibitors and staff for the week. General sponsors this week supporting all of our shows are Craig County Farm Bureau and Washington County Farm Bureau. Some additional sponsors include the Virginia Pork Council and Land of Promise Farms. We thank you for your partnership in providing the Youth Swine Showmanship banners today.
And we've got 4 to hold back. That'll give us our final 10. Again, if we were going to hold on down the line, one I'd really like to use, if the pig would have cooperated a little better, the young fellow over here with the blue hog would have been the next one to go in. And really initially I thought it was one of the 2 or 3 very best ones in this particular heat. That pig just kind of started riding the rails and getting around the edges. Not quite as much control with him. I like your mannerisms. Eye contact is excellent. You came out and you made a good first impression. You did it with the right turn away from him to give me the views. He's just not cooperating as good. He's kind of fighting those rails a little bit more, but the rest of you out here do a lot of things very, very nice. The young fellow right here does a smooth, easy job. I would probably refrain from putting the arm behind the back, and that's truthfully more of a safety thing for you, because if you're going along and you're looking at me and you're like that, and a pig comes and clips you off, you're going to do a header right into the sawdust. So it's going to save you and allow you to be able to protect yourself. Just put it on your hip or up tight a little bit, just to kind of, because a lot of kids will have a hard time keeping that off hand off the pig, and they want to continuously put that other hand on. So whatever it takes, is usually on the hip anymore is kind of where it's at. But the main reason that the 4 of you are not going to be held back in this particular group is positioning, and that's when you come in behind the pig like that right there, coming on my side of the pig, and I saw this young fellow do the same thing, coming on my side of the pig, a little more. Always transition that opposite side, maintain off the other side. Did a very nice job, though. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Help me congratulate the exhibitors coming back for the Champion Senior Showmanship Drive out of Heat 2. Bradley Cron of Augusta, Gaislyn Swisher of Augusta, Selena Perez, Virginia Beach, and Logan Cassiano of Loudon. It is now time to drive for your Champion Senior Swine Showman. Now entering the ring for your Champion Senior Swine Showman, Jackson Kelly, Hunter Ross, Landon Marshall, Michaela Lloyd, Grant Bowman, Luke Wetzel, Bradley Cron, Gaislyn Swisher, Selena Perez, and Logan Cassiano. Heat 1, Intermediate Showmanship. Heat 1, Intermediate Showmanship. This is your first call. First call, Heat 1, Intermediate Showmanship. Our show today would not be possible without the help of our show staff and volunteers. Clerking today's show is Emily Bowman, Virginia Youth Livestock Program alum and Virginia Tech graduate student. Lining up classes and helping in the ring, we have Tim Mize from Fauquier County, Marriott Prados from Fauquier County, Emily Scholes from Warren County. Members of our State Fair Virginia Youth Livestock Advisory Council, Scott and Tabby Buchanan, Shane and Ryan Horsley. We'd also like to thank Caroline Haygood and Abby Widener for their help. Special thanks goes out to Crystal Ross, State Fair of Virginia Youth Livestock Advisory Council members, for securing sponsorships and awards for youth swine shows. Join me in a round of applause for all of our contributions and swine show help today. Heat 1, Intermediate Showmanship. Heat 1, Intermediate Showmanship. This is your second and final call. Heat 1, Intermediate Showmanship, second and final call.
Well, it's a good senior division we've got here. Our top 10 are very, very competitive. In truth of them, I mean, they could stand a lot of competition nationwide with the work ethic they've got, their eye contact, and and it's showmanship is a first impression thing coming out of the gate, trying to draw attention, but to draw attention to the pig, not necessarily yourself. Give me the different views, and I felt like these young people we got left out here did the best job of giving me those different unique views as they came in. And then the very best thing about it is none of them came back in front of me while I was trying to look at anybody else coming in. That's a courtesy thing. When you make your approach and you get that first time out in the ring, then you get behind me because I got to concentrate on that next one coming in. That's a courtesy thing. All 10 of these did that very, very well. A lot of times some kids will try to come back in and draw attention to themselves before you get everybody looked at. It's just a bad ethic as far as showmanship goes to do that. One thing I'll mention before we get down there too far into this thing is showmanship-wise, we're starting to see a lot of kids, I call it riding horses, where they just bop along like this. You just see them bobbing. I'm thrilled that we don't see any of that in our top 10 in our showmanship. I don't know any showmanship judge alive that likes that. I know where it started, or I know when I saw it for the first time. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. So it draws attention away from the pig, and you just see yourself bobbing up down through there and trying to see that pig. It's very annoying and it's not very much fun to watch. So I'm really thrilled that none of you do that. You had a tendency to do it maybe a few times earlier. But don't do it now. But and the other thing is, in showmanship in particular, the one whip thing. And I don't know what's coming later on. And if your youngster's been using two whips all along, I mean, that's okay. But probably in showmanship, you're not going to win if you got two whips out in the ring. It's still a one whip game when you get out here. That's a training thing coming into the shoot. But when you get out here, I like smooth, steady, easy going. No riding horses, and one utensil. And those are just a pet peeve of mine, and I truthfully, 99.999% of the showmanship judges I know like it that way. So, again, if that can help you in the future, please try to do that, because you're doing things right now. Don't mess it up by trying to get too much extra stuff in there. Just kind of do the job. The ones we've got over here that we're placing in here, again, sometime the part, it's a partnership between a pig and the owner and the shower, and sometimes that just doesn't work. Sometimes the pig wants to get off in the edges, be a little more uncomfortable. Over here, we had a really good job done. Basically, these out here, I felt like did a little more elite job as far as their positioning, moving around the ring with a little more effortless type of look, and that's kind of what we look for. But let's give them a nice round of applause here for 6 on down over here. Again, the hogs are wearing down a little bit. Again, they've several of them been out here to show. We got some they're still yet to show tomorrow probably, but again, I felt like they did a nice job. Fifth today is going to be a young man with the white socked black pig over there farthest from me, 279. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Really good first impression. Came out, gave me the shot, side view, rear view, all that. That pig's kind of acted up on him a little bit more that last half of the run, but felt like he did just a really nice job. Eye contact, positioning, excellent. Transitioned extremely well. Thought you did a very, very good job. Fourth's going to be a young fellow right here, closest to me, real tall young fellow right here. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Again, very good first impression, good eye contact, all that was very good. Again, just a little less of everything as far as giving me that extra view coming in. Didn't have quite that extra positioning aspect of it as we had in our top 3, but I felt like did just an extremely good job. Third today is going to be a young lady here with the calico. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Very good first impression. Did a nice job of giving me those extra views and the rear view coming at you. Had a tendency kind of want to shove the pig along with her knee up in the shoulder a little bit more. Again, subtle differences is what's going to separate you in the end, but did a very, very nice job. I felt like just excellent. Our top 2 young showmen, I felt like first impression-wise, when they came in, they gave me that side shot. You saw them go ahead and turn, and I allowed them that extra time to go ahead and turn and see what they were going to do with it. Felt like these 2 young fellows here did the best at that particular aspect. I maybe caught you on my side of the pig just a time or two, and again, that's going to happen in the heat of competition. The other thing I'll mention too in showmanship and working your way to the top end of the top level is trying to stay out of trouble and stay out of a pack. Truthfully, it's directing traffic. And I watch these guys. I watch their eyes, and they got to watch. It's difficult. If you've never done it, you need to try it. But you got to watch me. You got to know where I'm at. You got to know where your pig's at, and you have to direct traffic with your eyes and realize I'm not going to get myself into trouble if I take this path. Or if I'm going to get in trouble, I got to go the other way. Do something a little unique, a little different. I felt like these young fellas looked ahead, directed traffic, felt like they did an incredibly good job. Second place today's young fellow with the belted hog, young man right here wins it.
Your champion senior swine showman goes to Hunter Ross of Virginia Beach. Second, Bradley Cron. Third, Selena Perez. Fourth, Grant Bowman. Fifth, Luke Wetzel. Sixth, Landon Marshall. Seventh, Michaela Lloyd. 8, Logan Cassiano. 9, Gayson Swisher. And 10th, Jackson Kelly. It is now time to drive Heat 1 of Intermediate Swine Showmanship. Entering the ring now, Olivia Fisher of Shenandoah, Skylar Zolman of Rockbridge, Jonas Hitt of Orange, Ella Jane Michael, Augusta, Karma Bright, Orange, Lucas Myers, Rockingham, Mason Vanderhyde, Pennsylvania, John Hale, Hanover, and Isaac Cyphers of Washington. Heat 2, Intermediate Showmanship. Heat 2, Intermediate Showmanship. This is your first call. First call, Heat 2, Intermediate Showmanship. At the conclusion of today's age division showmanship classes, a master showman and reserve, as well as a third and fourth overall, will be selected by Jim McCoy from the champion and reserve champion age division winners. The Swine Master Showman will represent our species in the Supreme Showmanship competition held this afternoon at 5 p.m., where they will compete against the Master Showman from beef, meat, goat, and sheep divisions, where they will show all 4 species and compete for $2,800 in cash awards and $4,200 in scholarship money.
We got 3 heats in this intermediate division. We're going to keep 3 out of this particular group. Again, positioning again, kind of on my side of the pig. As you see, a few of them trying to transition. They're on my side when I kind of move in and kind of ease around. When you're still on my side and you haven't went the opposite direction, that's going to be the first thing we kind of watch on what you do. And then the pig down here that again just same as in the hog show, just first gear all the time. It just needs to get out there and go, and that's not necessarily your fault. Sometimes it's just inherently in that pig to just be that speed. And but in the showmanship deal, trying to get a little more flow out of them, a little more steadiness and smoothness is kind of what that's about. Let's give them a nice round of applause once again as they head back.
Coming back for the champion intermediate swine showman drive momentarily, Olivia Fisher of Shenandoah, Ella J. Michael of Augusta, and Isaac Cyphers of Washington. We are now looking for Heat 2 of intermediate showmanship. Entering the ring now for Heat 2 of intermediate showmanship, Coleman Seal, Augusta, Ella Miller with Avery Keller of Rockingham, Jake Henderson, Clark, Carly Gallahan, Orange, Ada Elshire, Augusta, and Fisher Thompson of Essex. Heat 3, intermediate showmanship. Heat 3, intermediate showmanship. This is your first and final call. Heat 3, intermediate showmanship, first and final call.
We're going to go ahead and keep 4 out of this particular group. We've got one more heat to go there, and again, kind of that positioning and coming on my side of the pig kind of separates you. One of you had a tendency to what I mentioned there earlier of staying out of the way when I was still looking at pigs. One of you came in, up in front of me there basically, and back when I was still looking at those other pigs. And those are the subtle things that are going to separate you. None of you are doing a bad job at all, but these fine points are going to be the different things that they're going to separate you. The other two had a tendency to maybe cross over on my side there a few times. But again, very good eye contact, good mannerisms. Let's give them a nice round of applause once again as they head back.
Coming back for the champion senior showmanship drive momentarily, Coleman Seal of Augusta, Ella Miller of Wythe, Avery Keller of Rockingham, and Ada Elshire of Augusta. Entering the ring now, Heat 3, Intermediate Showmanship. Sawyer Zolman of Rockbridge, Mason Dunlap, Gloucester, Whitley Kopp, Washington, Spencer Trumbo, Rockingham, Lauren Wright, Page, Taylor McDaniel, Augusta, and Preston Widener of Pennsylvania. At the conclusion of this heat, we will drive for your grand champion intermediate swine showman.
We got 3 more we're going to hold back to get our top 10 out here. Just things I've mentioned out here. Again, good eye contact, I think, for the most part. The pigs are cooperating again for the most part. Got one kind of getting around the edges there a little bit more. Positioning is what, is what separates being able to get into holding pen here. Young lady here with the calico, truthfully, you were one of the first ones I would have pinned out of this group, and I know you came out of that group last time. You were going to be one of the first ones there, but when you make a conscious choice to continuously do that right there and did it again and do that multiple times instead of taking that other route around the front and taking that transition around the front, that's what separates you in a good high-level competition. You do tons of things right. Once you break that habit and I get in behind or a judge gets in behind, he starts to move around and transition around that front end of the pig, you're going to be in the top 3 every time. I guarantee you. You do so many things right, but just got to get that out of that habit of crossing over on my side of the pig. Doesn't make a difference during the regular show. You just get them shown, but in showmanship, that is one of the kind of the final pet peeves there that will separate you from getting in a holding pen. Let's give them a nice round of applause once again as they head back.
Coming back for your champion intermediate swine showman drive, Sawyer Zolman of Rockbridge, Lauren Wright of Page, and Taylor McDaniel of Augusta. Heat 1, Junior Showmanship. Heat 1, Junior Showmanship. This is your first and final call. Heat 1, Junior Showmanship. This is your first and final call. It is now time to drive for your grand champion intermediate swine showman. Coming back for the drive, it's Olivia Fisher of Shenandoah, Ella Jane Michael of Augusta, Isaac Cyphers of Washington, Coleman Seal of Augusta, Ella Miller of Wythe, Avery Keller of Rockingham, Ada Elshire of Augusta, Sawyer Zolman of Rockbridge, Lauren Wright of Page, and Taylor McDaniel of Augusta. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors for all of the 2025 Virginia State Fair Youth Livestock Shows. I'd like to thank the State Fair Virginia, who supports our youth livestock shows by providing this venue, covering our judge expenses, and paying out over $35,000 in cash premiums and $28,500 in earned scholarships for our exhibitors. We'd also like to thank the Farm Credit of the Virginias for providing water for our exhibitors and staff for the week. Second and final call for class number 1, junior showmanship. Junior showmanship, this is your second and final call.
Well, let's give your intermediate champions a nice round of applause there for their top 10. Again, to my knowledge of any sizable animal, this is the only species that in showmanship and you're showing when you are showing in the regular show that you do not have physical control of. There's no chain, there's no halter, there's no rope, there's no grabbing them by the front end and standing them up. This you got to guide them, and again, if some of you haven't done it and you think, well, why aren't they doing this? Try it one time. It's not as easy as it looks. Hogs have a mind of their own. They're smarter than we give them credit for, but there's some days you question that. But these hogs are doing a nice job, and the kids, you can tell they've got some work ethic of getting them more to that point, because you don't wake up on a Saturday morning and say, I'm going to run a marathon today. You train, and you got to do that at home. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of mileage at home, and a lot of patience, which is really difficult sometimes, but you got to do it if you're going to compete at the highest level. And I think these kids have done a very nice job of maintaining themselves. A 6 through 10 down here again, kind of crossing over in front of me on a few instances. There's a couple of you had a tendency to maybe get a little closer to the front end of the pig instead of maintaining that position on the back end as you're flowing. Off that back end of the hip, like you see this whole group doing, that's kind of where it's at. Some of you were a little more pushed forward. That has a tendency sometimes when you get in the flight zone of the pig, it'll have a tendency to confuse the pig a little bit, and they won't flow forward quite as good as what it is. But let's give 6 through 10 a nice round of applause. Yeah, it's a very tight group, and again, there's not one that just really sticks out as has to be the one, and that's good. You've got depth of quality within the group. I think very, very good. Fifth is going to be a young lady with the red shirt out here, the all red shirt. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Good first impression. Gave me all the unique views. I went ahead and turned that pig and got me on that the back side of that pig going directly away on that initial pass coming in. Just like to see just a little more flow and a little, truthfully, just a shot more speed on that pig, kind of like we've seen on a couple, three of those other ones, to give you just a little better impression as you flow. But I felt like your eye contact, positioning was spot on. Again, I felt like you did just an extremely good job. Fourth is going to be a young lady with the all black pig here. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Again, another one that came in, did very good on the first impression, gave me every view, coming at you sideways, going directly away. Had a tendency, again, that pig was just stalling out a little slower. We just didn't get quite that steady flow, and I know he's getting worked up just a little bit and getting a little hotter, but again, that just happens on a given day. Our top three, I felt like were very, very good. Third is going to be the young lady here with this striped shirt on. Let's give her a nice round of applause. I like your posture. I like your eye contact and the way you put that hand on the hip, and you look very smooth with it. You blend with the project good. You don't ride the horse like we were talking a little bit ago. You blend. You let the pig be seen, and that's great. I think you do a very nice job of that. Didn't maybe give me quite that extra view when you first came in, but I felt like this pig's getting a little bit quicker on you, but felt like you did a tremendous job of just sticking with it to the end. These two young people right here did a very good job. Again, I'll talk about them in no particular order. Young lady with the belted one, again, good first impression. Came out sideways, gave me this side view, got back out of the way. Felt like you just continuously worked your way to the end. I never caught you on my side of the pig. If you did, I didn't see it, or I was turned the other direction, but you did a very nice job. And until this point, the pig has never acted up, and I've already got my mind made up, so that's not going to make the decision. Young fellow right here came in. I'd like to maybe, when you first came in, maybe give me that rear view. You gave me the front side. Maybe go ahead and give me the rear view. But as far as consistency level, good first impression, eye contact. Pig is spot on white, and with as much black paint as around here, the fact that pig's still white is pretty amazing. You've done a nice job with that, and you just was smooth, steady, consistent, easy going. And consistency is part of the game of what pig I see at the right distance and the right pace. You'll see me head to a different area of the ring, and I'll continue to do it. I head over here because pigs don't want to be there. They know they came in, they're going to leave out here. They came in over here. They don't want to go there. So this is basically making you present that pig where they don't want to be, and do it as smoothly as you can. Again, it's not a very easy job. Second today, the young lady right here, young man wins the drive.
Your champion intermediate showman is Coleman Seal of Augusta. Second, Ella Miller of Wythe. Third, Avery Keller of Rockingham. Fourth, Ella Jane Michael of Augusta. Fifth, Lauren Wright of Page. Sixth, Taylor McDaniel. Seventh, Sawyer Zolman. Eighth, Ada Elshire. Ninth, Isaac Cyphers. And 10th, Olivia Fisher. Novice Swine Showman. Novice Swine Showman, this is your first call. Novice Swine Showmanship, first call. We are now ready to drive for your Junior Swine Showman. Entering the ring now, Charles Farmer, Pennsylvania. Helen Catherine Farmer, Pennsylvania. Meredith Horsley, Virginia Beach. Peyton Johnston, Augusta. Zachary Murphy, Gloucester. Jacob Myers, Rockingham. Lily Poyser, Shenandoah. Madison Randall, Page. Jenny Gray Widener, Pennsylvania. Stella Zolman, Rockbridge. At the conclusion of novice showmanship, we will need back champion and reserve in each age division. We will be looking for Hunter Ross, Bradley Cron, Coleman Seal, Ella Miller, and the champion in reserve in the junior and novice swine showman divisions. Novice swine showman, this is your second and final call. Second and final call for novice swine showmanship.
Hey, once again, let's give this division here a nice round of applause there for their accomplishments. Again, not a bad showman in the group, and we're not going to pick apart what the kids are doing. Again, it's basically it's all very simple. It's that positioning. It's the pig. The pig's got to cooperate. Position, transition in front instead of crossing over, eye contact, all those things again, and we're seeing a lot of it. Just saw more of it out of these top five we've got out here as far as being able to get the project presented to the best of their abilities and show off kind of what they have to offer. Fifth place today is going to be a young fellow there with that belted gilt over. Let's give him a nice round of applause. He's kind of the unknown showman. You just don't really notice what he does. You just keep seeing that pig, and that's why it's part of it is keeping that distance and pace. Maybe doesn't have quite as much finesse as what some we had, but you do a lot of things right. Your eye contact, I think, is very good. Maybe not quite as aggressive with getting the different turns out of the pig, but you got a project that cooperates very well. So, again, that's a very good day when that happens. Fourth place young lady here with the white belt again. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Again, just comes in there, just does a smooth, steady, easy job. Very pleasant young lady that presents it very well. Skin and hair's on point. Maybe it wasn't, caught her out of position a time or two. Didn't really cross over in front of me that I noticed, but felt like maybe she didn't have quite that aggressive eye contact we had in the top three, but very, very good showman in her own right. Third is going to be a young lady right here with this white sock pig here. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Borderline came real close, crossed it over in front of me a time or two when I'd move in around, but she went ahead and made it, just maybe needed to make it a second or two there quicker. Good first impression, presented very, very well, got yourself really presented very well, used the utensil up in the front end very nicely. Had to overuse the whip maybe there just a little bit more to keep that pig eye going, and I know it's hot. I'm hot out here too, and that's just going to happen. Our top two, again, in no particular order that we'll talk about the young fella here closest to me with the white pig. Again, skin and hair is on point. Few marks on the pig, but a white pig is going to have that. I mean, you don't have to hit one very hard to have a mark on him at all. Does a nice job. Did a nice job through the show there earlier today. Also, again, I kind of remember those kids that kind of came in and did a really nice job there too, and did a nice job. Transitioned very, very well, and the front end started to bounce on me a little bit when you came in, but I think you rectified that a little bit because I don't care for that. But again, you do a very nice job of presenting that pig. Really good eye contact, mannerisms, position, transition. Young lady right here does a great job. She did a good job early. Really comes out and gives that head shot, side shot, gave me the rear view. She's got a game face on. She's taking a page out of the Karis Dadson. For those of you in the show pig world know what who Karis Dadson is. She's got that kind of look. I caught you smiling. That's okay. Have a good time at it, and that's okay. That's not going to make you win or lose. It's going to be on the merits of what you do, and you do a ton of things right. Extreme eye contact, mannerisms good, presented very, very well. That transition you did right there, and it was a good time to be doing that because young ladies have a tendency to be able to do that easier than a young man, but the young man does a nice job of it too. A lot of time when a boy does that, especially teenagers, they don't have as much finesse, and they go to get in there and transition, that pig stops, and they have to kind of get him turned. Taking that extra half a step to allow that pig to not break stride is an art, and both of you have that laid in very, very well. Reserves young man, young lady wins it.
Your champion junior swine showman goes to Jenny Gray Widener. Reserve, Charles Farmer. Third, Helen Catherine Farmer. Fourth, Meredith Horsley. Fifth, Jacob Myers. Sixth, Lily Poyser. Seventh, Madison Randall. Eighth, Peyton Johnston. Ninth, Stella Zolman. And 10th, Zachary Murphy. It is now time to drive for your novice swine showman. Once again, we need champion and reserves back from all age division drives. We will be looking for Hunter Ross, Bradley Cron, Coleman Seal, Ella Miller, Jenny Gray Widener, and Charles Farmer. Once again, at the conclusion of today's age division showmanship classes, a master showman and reserve, as well as a third and fourth overall, will be selected by Jim McCoy from the champion and reserve champion age division winners. The swine master showman will represent our species in the Supreme Showmanship competition held this afternoon at 5 o'clock, where they will compete against the master showmen from the beef, meat, goat, and sheep divisions, where they will show all 4 species and compete for $2,800 in cash awards and $4,200 in scholarship money.
Well, let's give your novice exhibitors a nice round of applause there equally. Again, the pigs probably didn't cooperate quite as good as a group as what we've had to this point. And again, as happens, it's hot. It's getting hotter as the day goes on, and again, that's part of it. Pigs get wore out a little bit. Kids get wore out a little bit, but again, that's going to happen on a given day. Anytime I move to an area of the ring, and again, it's usually the opposite end that the pig wants to be in to make you drive, and you don't see anybody within a 30-foot space. That's not a good feeling if you're a showman, because that's where you want them. You want them right in here. And if you're way off into the distance and you can't get that pig presented back up in there, again, that's a tough day. But that's kind of what it takes to get you to the end of showmanship, is that consistency of being able to get yourself seen at the right distance, right pace, the right mannerisms, smooth, easy, steady, easy going kind of a deal, but still aggressive enough to get that push, to get that out of that pig. Fifth today is going to be a young fella here with the red gilt over here. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Did a nice job there early on, and again, this is one of the pigs that just kind of gave out on him and kind of got off into the edges here, and it didn't allow him to have that consistent, steady, easy flow like he probably was able to do there earlier in the drive. But again, doesn't do a lot of things right. The pigs just kind of wore out on him here. Fourth is going to be a young lady here with this red gilt right here. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Early on, you were my top two, okay? And it's not your fault. It happens. This pig is kind of getting cantankerous, and it's kind of wanting to back up on you and go in reverse more and get off in the edges. She's just tired, and it just happens. You've maintained your composure good, and that's all you can do. Your eye contact is tremendously good. Your first impression was very, very good. You did so many things right, and again, I don't feel like we overworked him out here as far as length of time. The pig just wore out, and that just happens. That happens to the very best showman nationwide. But, again, you're going to work your way right onto that top three every single time because of what you do right. Our top three showmen here, I felt like we're very good. Right here is going to be the third place showman. Let's give her a nice round of applause. She just came out here and did a smooth, steady, easy job. Maybe got her body position a little farther forward at times. Truthfully, I caught everybody actually crossed it over from me, which is what we've been talking about and preaching on these other classes, but I don't know that there was really one of them that didn't do that in this particular drive. And you really couldn't do much separation on that particular aspect of it. But, again, felt like she did a ton of things right. Our top two showmen, the eye contact was really good. First impression, really good. The hogs are presented very, very well. I felt like one of you, as far as that distance and pace, and truthfully, part of the time it's just the mentality of the pig that is able to allow you to do what you want to do, but at least you did it and kept bringing the pig back out. The most consistent, the one I saw at the best distance and best pace throughout the drive, and didn't get off into the edges a little bit more. I felt like did a good job. Second is going to be a young lady right here with the belted one. The young lady here with the blue wins it.
Your champion novice showman goes to Eva Foltz of Page. Second, Clara Stevens. Third, Skylar Talley. Fourth, Evie Dudding. Fifth, Sawyer Tomlin. Sixth, Leighton Lilly. Seventh, Weston Knight. And eighth, Lucas Vinskowski. We need all champions and reserves to be ringside for Master Swine Showman. All champions and reserves in each age division, we need you to be ringside for champion Master Swine Showman. Attention in the barn, attention in the barn. Would Avery Keller of Rockingham, please come to the announcer booth. Once again, the Swine Master Showman will represent our species in the Supreme Showmanship competition held this afternoon at 5 p.m., where they will compete against the Master Showman from beef, meat, goat, and sheep divisions, where they will show all 4 species and compete for $2,800 in cash awards and $4,200 in scholarship money. It is now time to drive for your champion Master Swine Showman. Coming in hot out of your Senior Swine Showman division, Hunter Ross from Virginia Beach. Beating them all in the Intermediate Showman division, Coleman Seal of Augusta. Coming out of the gate now, Jenny Widener of Pennsylvania. And out of your just completed Novice Swine Showman Drive, Eva Foltz of Page County. Make some noise for all of our age division winners in tonight's Master Showman Drive. Reserve out of your Senior Swine Showman division, Bradley Cron of Augusta. Reserve in the Intermediate division, Ella Miller of Wythe. Winding up reserve in your Junior division, Charles Farmer of Pennsylvania. And out of your just completed Novice Showman division, Clara Stevens of Shenandoah. Make some noise for all of your Reserve division winners here this afternoon.
Well, let's give your overall kids here a nice round of applause again. That's a good group, man. That's a good group of showmen, and you know, again, and if you had special ties to one of them that were down the line, I'm sure you thought they should have done better, and that's natural, you know. But again, as a judge's perspective, you know, you take any kind of a tie away from whether you know somebody or like somebody or whatever, which I don't know any of these kids, but basically you take that and you just do the job, and I'm really, really pleased with what we come up with here in the finals, and very, very tickled with the way they have presented themselves and presented their projects out here. Again, they've done a tremendously good job. If I'm right, I think it's the last thing I got to do today, correct? Again, thanks for your attention, and thanks for being here for these kids, and again, giving them those rounds of applause when they need it, and make sure you support them and give them to them again. Yeah, absolutely. They've worked hard. It's hot out here. But again, had a really good time today, and I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I hope you'll be back tomorrow there for the Guilt Show at 11 a.m. It was really good last year, and I'm anticipating the same this year. I'm looking forward to it very, very much. Again, we've got top four was what we've got to pick out of our showmen, and again, I think they've presented themselves with honor out here today. Again, I won't dive into what they've done or haven't done. We've kind of done that, and we always want to accentuate the positive, and then how we can be better, because we can always do something to better ourselves. So those are the things we're looking for. We're never criticizing the kids. It's just trying to find things to be better the next time out, so maybe we can get a notch higher. So that's kind of what it's about. But again, I won't talk about them anymore again, but the first hand I shake will be your grand overall, then reserve, third and fourth overall. We have 4 placings. And again, I want you to give just as big a round of applause for each of them as we do that. Thanks again.
Your champion master swine showman comes out of the senior division, Hunter Ross from Virginia Beach. Reserve is going to be Jenny Widener out of Pennsylvania. Your third overall master swine showman out of your senior division, Bradley Cron of Augusta. And your fourth overall out of the intermediate division, Coleman Seal of Augusta. That concludes our swine shows for today. Thank you for joining us.